What's going on, it's the RapNerd, and it's the end of 2023, so what better time than to go over my top 10 movies of the year. So, a few honorable mentions before we get started. I would like to shout out is It's a Wonderful Knife, which is a slasher movie, Christmas slasher movie, that's on Shudder right now that you can watch. Another horror movie called Cobweb, and They Clone Tyrone. Those three I also love, and it was hard for me to leave those off, but I wanted to shout them out. So, on to the list. At number 10, I'm kind of cheating here because I don't know where either of these movies lie because I've seen both one time and I'm just split, so I'm going to put both of them at the 10th spot. Yes, I'm cheating and I don't care. So at the 10th spot, I have Operation Fortune and Thanksgiving. So Operation Fortune, one of the best action movies of the year. I love this espionage shit so much, and the fact that it's Guy Ritchie doing it. And I feel like this is his Mission Impossible. He kind of already has his James Bond and The Man from U.N.C.L.E., but this one is more action oriented. I mean, Jason Statham is kicking ass all over the place. The team component is the best choice of actors to put together. It's fun, it's funny, and it just fires off at all cylinders, man. I love that film, and I'm just upset that it just got rolled over with no marketing. No one went to see it, but I stand by loving this movie. On to Thanksgiving, it's one of those slashers that I just love. It's a well-made, campy slasher that reminds me of something from the early 2000s. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've only seen it once, but I plan on watching it again, even when it's not Thanksgiving, when the Blu-ray drops. Like, this is the classic type of movie like I was just talking about. I was happy to see that it didn't go too far, because with Eli Roth, you never know what the hell he's gonna do. I mean, this guy made Hostel and Green Inferno, both movies that take it further than what I personally want from my horror. But with this being a classic type whodunit slasher, and that's it, and having some creative kills and one-note characters, that's all that I wanted. And the best thing is it's well made. That's what sets it apart from any other slashers in the same category that go for super campy. They're not as well made as this movie. The cinematography is great, performances are where they need to be, and all in all, it's a ton of fun, and I have no issue with the film. And all I can say after that is, no more leftovers! At number 9, I have Extraction 2 on Netflix. This film is just incredible. If you know about this movie, the oner is the big thing people talk about, and it's the big thing that people need to talk about because that scene was masterfully crafted. I don't know how they did that. Of course, it's secret cuts in there, but just the fact that they actually did a lot of this stuff, like in camera, says a whole bunch. That scene is worth watching alone. If you haven't watched it and you're wondering if you should, watch it for that 30-minute oner by itself. It's so exhausting, and it just does so much. And the thing about this movie that I like even more is we get to know more about Tyler. In the first movie, he just is gun for hire. You know, he just goes and gets this kid and comes back. But here, there's a little bit of his backstory and family element added to it, so the stakes are higher. And all in all, it's a great action flick. This is one that I'm kind of upset that I didn't get to see in the theater because I'm pretty sure it would have slapped even harder. I was highly impressed with this film, so Extraction 2 at number 9. Number 8 is Creed 3, Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut. I think he killed it. Love the fight scenes, love the anime inspiration, love the emotional performances by him and Jonathan Majors. They really sold this movie to feel like these two were very connected and grew up with each other. You get a sense of that young camaraderie and family relationship when they are cool, but then when shit switches, I love how Jonathan Majors went from going, just a guy needing help to being a sinister person that you don't want to deal with, and Michael B having to step up and be a great actor and director in this movie gets my props because I know that's not an easy task to do, and to me, he killed this. He knocked this out of the park for it to be his first directing gig. I have no issue with any of his directing at all. My issues kind of lie with the writing, but even then, I just love it because it feels like a fantasy boxing movie opposed to the first two. First two are pretty realistic, but here you can just tell, like, oh, if Creed was an anime, this is what it would be, and I enjoyed it. The visual flair, the music, even the action, it all works for me. At number 7 is The Boogeyman. God, this movie's underrated. I don't hear nearly enough people talking about it. I sang my praises for it when I first saw it, and the fact it's PG-13 makes it that much better. The director's name is slipping me right now, but he has a brilliant future in horror because what he did here was nothing short of just magnificent. From the opening sequence, he establishes the tone, and it does not let up from there. How he was able to get this for PG-13, I have no clue, because it definitely feels like an R-rated movie. One of the best things about this film is, you have this monster. The design is great, and the way it's hidden in the dark. Outside of that, the performances are what really make this movie excel. Everybody's here to play, and they hone in on the trauma of what the family goes through and use it in ways to make you really believe it. And just an excellent creature feature of a movie that should have made more at the box office. It should be talked about more amongst the horror community. I think the CGI is at use, and I don't know why for some reason horror fans hate that, but when it's used damn good here and works on every single level for me personally. So number 7, we have The Boogeyman. At number 6 is David Fincher's The Killer on Netflix, and Manus Fincher. You already know. This is technically his first action film, if you will, even though it's more espionage thriller, but there are some action sequences, one in particular involving Michael Fassbender's character going into a house. Spectacular. Like, I want a straight up action joint for him after seeing this. But this is like a type of low-key espionage-esque movie that I love. I love the depiction of the killer and how his life kind of sucks, because I don't think I've ever seen an assassin's life be depicted this way, and even his family life, repercussions of his actions. I mean, this whole movie being based off of the killer failing is something that I haven't seen in this way. It puts me in a weird space, because you have moments where you're rooting for the killer, and then you have moments where it's easily just like, oh shit, this dude really is a killer. It's kind of crazy. So to put me in that dichotomy of the thing, in Fincher's masterful, sterile, stainless steel direction, love this film. So I gotta put that at number 6. Now at number 5, I have Oppenheimer. Technically, this is the best film of the year. I want to put that out there right now, because what Nolan did here is incredible. A 3-hour biopic that has the tension of a thriller film. He's just masterful at this shit, man. The dialogue is crisp. The performances here, you can tell everyone knows that this was we in the big boy leagues right now, and everybody brought it. Like, damn near everybody in here deserves an award nomination for how well they brought their A game. And I don't even like this kind of movies, honestly. I don't. Nolan somehow finds a way to make everything intense, gripping, and entertaining at the same time. And his direction here is just crazy. Cillian Murphy, Actor of the Year, period. He deserves that award for what he did here. Being able to go back and forth with the duality of Oppenheimer from start to finish, from start being the scientist and the kid learning to creating the bomb to the aftermath of it. There's 3 different characters he damn near had to play. So I can't say much else that hasn't been said about Oppenheimer, so I have it at number 5. But again, technically it is the best film of the year, just not my favorite. Number 4, I have Evil Dead Rise. I think that this movie was crafted so well. It was able to have that intensity of the 2013 version, but I think that it's a little lighter and it makes it more fun in 2013. I think that one is better, but this one for me might be my favorite and have the most rewatchability. It's not a real word, but we use it a lot, in the film world. It's bloody, it's gory, it has the best deadite in all of these movies, in my opinion. I think the actress's name is Alyssa. Killed it. Being creepy, being scary, just her language through her body, being this deadite is next level. I haven't seen anybody do it to this level. I love the setting, being in an apartment, and then with it raining outside, it just makes everything feel claustrophobic, and it brings the scares and brings the thrills like every other movie in the franchise, but adds something special to it. So Evil Dead Rise, this was almost at a slot higher, but it falls here at number 4. At number 3 is Scream 6. I think taking this franchise to New York and setting it on Halloween just amplified it that much. I think this movie is damn near perfect. The only thing I don't really like a lot is the third act. I think it could have been done a little bit differently, because it kind of just changes into like some fantasy killer movie from that point on when they get there. I mean, people running around at each other, jousting, and people getting cut the fuck up and still living like Chad. How is he still alive? It just got a little bit like in the third act. But the first 2 acts are so incredibly strong that it just boosted this high for me. Because I love the opening and how it sets the mood like no other Scream has. This is the most violent. This is the most brutal. This is the most serious. And all of those things in this pot just make it so damn good. And the third act, again, even though there's stuff that I don't like, it's still watchable and I still like it, but those first two acts are damn near godly. So at number 3, I have Scream 6. At number 2, I have Rebel Moon. Love this film. This is the PG-13 cut, and I'm still wondering what the hell's in the R-rated cut, because this movie gave me enough to have my brain thinking about part 2. Fuck the director's cut. I'm thinking about, like, what are we doing in part 2? Because it presented so much lore about this world that I want to know more. I want to see more. I love that it's a space odyssey that's adult and mature. It's taken seriously. It feels mythical. There are some mythical things like the Bennu, the flying bird, and just the character dynamics and the designs all work. I mean, it's just, this is my type of sci-fi film that I've always wanted, personally. It started with Blade Runner 2049, then moved to Dune, and now here we are, Rebel Moon, giving me something that those two didn't give me, and that's the action. Like, the action in here is not Zack's strongest, but I believe it's because that it's this type of movie, if you will. Going with how these movies operate, I think the action is incredible. The gunfire and having one takes as people fighting as these laser blasts go by, having these character dynamics with people, with Nemesis having swords, big ass guns, like, it all works for me. The visual flair is there. I can talk about this movie all day. I love it. Can't wait to see part 2 and the director's cuts. And yet again, another great joint in Zack Snyder's filmography. And at number 1 is John Wick 4. This movie is incredible. It did some things that I've never seen in my life, having this action set pieces just spread all throughout. I mean, how do you have an action set piece and then you have action set pieces within that action set piece? Never ever seen it, ever. 3 hours of straight action, beautifully shot. Cinematography is off the chain. It's just like, this feels like opening some type of novel-sized manga. That's how I felt from the first act to the second act to the dragon breath scene, the Hotel Osaka, in the club with Killa. One of the best action movies. I've never in my life seen a martial arts movie on this scale, ever. Chad Stahelski cemented himself as one of the best action directors with this movie and this franchise, directing 4 martial arts big budget films that get better and better and better every time. I still think this is the best movie. I don't even, like, the first one is great, but this one takes everything that was built over all of these years and just makes it explode. So number 1 is John Wick Chapter 4. So let me know in the comments, what are your top 10? Again, keep it kind. My top 10 is not dumping on your top 10, so no need to be disrespectful. It's all respect, all love here. Let's keep the conversation going. And if you like this kind of content, make sure to like, subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, thank you. And until next time, peace.
RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy.